Welcome to the Soul Wealth Radio Show. I am your host, Dr. Vikki Johnson, here on 96.3 HD4 and DCRadio.gov. Here on the Soul Wealth Radio Show, we have wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. And all of my guests have been incredibly inspiring, insightful, illuminating, informative, and have been sharing some tremendous, transforming, life-changing gems, working my way to 300 episodes, which means I've had the privilege and opportunity to have that many conversations with that many amazing people. And my guest today is another one, like DJ Khaled says, and another one. And this woman is amazing. She can easily be described in one word: intentional. And when it comes to the foundation of legacy building, finance, family, fitness, and faith, her intentionality shines through. Her desire to help others create a purpose-filled ecosystem that encourages personal, financial, and spiritual growth is experienced through her legacy pre-gaming approach. She combines her passion for personal development and wealth creation as a licensed behavioral financial advisor, certified cognitive behavioral coach, and co-founder of Legacy Builder Group, LLC, a holistic coaching and investment firm helping families build wealth with purpose. With over 15 years of experience in the financial industry, she helps individuals and families find financial freedom by managing their decision-making around their money. Her passion for legacy building is evident in her family. She co-founded the Excel Youth Mentoring Institute with her then 13-year-old daughter, where she worked with young entrepreneurs and their parents to provide mentorship opportunities and educational resources for leadership and entrepreneurial development. She has received numerous awards and recognition in finance and entrepreneurship, and has made several appearances on radio, television, and blogs discussing her insights on family, finance, and entrepreneurship. And I am so excited to have here on the Soul Wealth Radio Show today, Marcella M. Williams. Welcome to the Soul Wealth Radio Show, Marcella. How are you today?
I am doing well, Dr. Vikki. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a privilege to be here. Just to
so excited. So excited to have you here. Listen, what was your experience listening to me read your bio?
Just that, just the importance of, living up to that standard, the standards of everything that you're reading off, that I'm listening to it, and in my head, I'm like, just make sure you continue to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And so as you're listening to it, as I'm listening to you reading it off, I'm just thinking, just continue doing, continue moving, continue doing these things that you're reading about. And so that I can just continue to be that example. So I don't know, it was just like a reminder of doing what I say that I do, So that's what was going through my head as you're reading that, A bio could just be anything. You're just reading it. Makes you sound great and you're accomplishing this, but I just want to be the light,
Well, you are being the light. And what's fascinating to me is the behavioral and cognitive approach to money management and wealth creation. That's fascinating. How did that come to be? Like, what made you say, I want to combine this and this together? Because it's powerful.
Yeah, like years and years of just patiently waiting for it to come together. I think, when I was a child, as a child, this is how I've always been. I've been fascinated with human behavior and what makes people do the things they do. So yes, I'm a people watcher, and I've always been a people watcher. The people just stand around, just look at different body movements and behavior of other people, right? And so I've always been interested in psychology, social
Mm-hmm.
sciences. But when I went to school, I have Caribbean parents, they ran a business and they were like, nope, you have to either be an accountant or, business. We settled for a business major and business and finance. So I said, okay, I'll do that. But psychology and human behavior is a part of me. It's not something that could just go away. So over the years, as I worked in my business and developed my financial services business, there was always that element of coaching people and helping people. And we developed that part in our business far before I even heard of behavioral economics or behavioral finance, before that was even a thing in my industry, in the financial industry. And even now, we're still relatively new. I have people in my industry that are like, what's a behavioral financial advisor? I never heard of that. So it is a relatively new area of exploration in the financial field. But for me, once I continued to dig into my passion, and I would just find books, and then I came across this area, this fields of education in the financial field. I said, oh my goodness, this is for me. This is what I've always wanted, to bridge my love for psychology and behavioral science with my passion for wealth building, for helping families, using money as that tool to help develop their legacies, putting them together. And so, went and studied, got my designation, and it's just been, I don't know, that feeling when you kind of find that thing that clicks, that really brings out all your passions and love. That's what happened. And so when I came across that, I knew this is where I need to be. This is what people need to really understand the dynamics between our behavior and how it drives how we respond to money, and the importance of being financially aligned. What are
some mindsets that you find prevalent among people, since you're a people watcher, and specifically among people that you work with? What are some of the mindsets that are common when it comes to money and people's behavior? If you could kind of share generally.
Sure, because there are quite a few. And the first one that comes to mind, as you say, that is what I call the DIY mindset. And it comes with, there's a lot of combination between guilt, shame, and fear when it comes to money. And there's this level of guilt and shame that starts with a DIY mindset. And that is that I should be able to do it myself, figure it out.
Yeah.
And I always have to remind people, where were you taught? Where was your foundation with money and your money education? Because more than likely it wasn't in the school. You didn't learn this. And then maybe if you went to college for finance, you can learn some things. But in most school systems, you're not taught about money, the actual fundamentals about money, and then let alone investing. So when we become adults, or you go to college, you get that first credit card, they're all there ready for you to apply for a credit card, and you make your financial mistakes, and you continue to make financial mistakes, or you learn from them, or then you make another financial mistake, just different things you go through in life. We continue to allow guilt to build up that then forms into shame. And instead of realize, and then that shame makes it hard for us to make a decision, the next decision. So for instance, working with a financial professional like myself, so many people come to me with so much guilt and shame because of the DIY mindset. They said, I should have known better. I should be able to do this. And again, going back to, and that's why I remind them, well, why? Why are you putting that burden on yourself when if you were not given the foundation to know better? So that's a huge one. It causes us to not want to take any more action because of the mistakes. And then it becomes the fear of then making the next mistake. So it's that combination of guilt, shame, which then leads to financial fear and then inaction. And it can really take us down a dangerous road if we don't stay on top of that.
How do we interrupt that financial fear?
I think it goes with so many things. I say the way you do one thing is the way you do everything.
Yeah.
And I don't, anyone who follows me on social media, I'm a big health and fitness and flexibility enthusiast. And I love, fitness. I love taking care of myself, eating right, all that type of thing. But I'm very much on that because for me, it's parallel. The wealth and health is parallel. Our behavior, and I like to relate to help people to understand is using food behavior because it seems more relatable than financial behavior sometimes for people.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want people to understand as far as disrupting it is understand, okay, where's the core of it? So if you are craving foods, if you're craving certain things, you have to act, or you're a stress eater. What you have to do is look at the core of the stress, right? You have to look at what's actually causing these issues. And it's the same thing with finances. I think it's asking ourselves the questions of what is actually the root issue here. Money is nothing more than a tool. Money is nothing more than just energy, just a piece of paper. What is actually the issue that is causing us to feel the shame, the guilt, the fear? And we can do that by asking, really kind of layering out the questions. So there's a saying that I love that says the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions that you ask yourself.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, right? Really good. So I want people to be able to really dig in it and be able to ask yourself these questions. And where you may struggle is in, be able to know the questions to ask yourself. And that's the importance of then having a coach to be able to help you along that journey. Understanding what your values are allows you to ask you the right question. Understanding your purpose, all of that allows you to ask the right questions to disrupt the behavior or the programming in your mind that says, something's wrong with me. I can't do this. This is scary. It's asking yourself, but why do you feel this way? Why? And then when you ask that question, the next, well, why? Well, what? Well, how?
Yeah. Keep digging, keep going deeper.
Yes.
Keep going deeper. I have this question, and then I'm going to move on from this. Like, I'm fascinated by behavioral, financial, and cognitive behavioral coach. This space, I've never heard of it before, honestly. Like you said, it's new. But I think it's powerful. And I think I know you are blazing a trail in this space. So if someone is already in a DIY mindset, struggling with guilt, shame, and fear, not making what I will call healthy financial decisions, how does one get to work with you if they are already challenged with how they manage their money? You understand what I'm saying? I think that's a roadblock. Like, I can't afford to pay my bills. How can I afford a coach or a financial advisor? This is powerful, and I'm just so grateful we're having this conversation.
Yeah, no, you're right. And if there's one thing we know, and especially you as also a coach, Vikki, is that when you invest in yourself, when you invest in your own education and in your own growth, the returns are doubled. It's like, obviously I can't guarantee anything, especially in the financial industry, but I'm just saying that I know when I invest in myself, I always get a return on investment. So when it comes to our finances, we tend to say, oh, well, I can't, or I'm already down this spiral. I can't, whether I can't afford to do this. And, I don't feel like I can do this. But when actuality is you can't afford not to. Because the same behavior, if you continue with the same behavior, how are you going to get to the point where you can afford to do so much more that you want to do, to actually live in your purpose? So I think the biggest part, as far as the obstacle of thinking, the first obstacle in thinking that I can't, for, let's say, financial reasons, is that one, you can't afford not to. to move forward. It is crucial that we have people in our lives that can, that are like maybe where we used to be, can understand where we were, and are able to have the techniques and have the skills and have the ability to take us to the next level. And
I love it.
That's what we have to look at. That's what we have to focus on.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are listening and this is resonating with you and you're like, oh my God, I need Marcella in my life, just hold on a few moments, because we're going to share at the end of our conversation how you can connect with her, how you can at a minimum start following her on social media and kind of digesting information like that, because that does work. It does matter. It is helpful. And if you want to go deeper with her, you'll have the opportunity to do that. I mean, this is so important, and now is a good time. If you're listening to this, it's an indication pretty much that God has ordered your steps to this moment, and it's time for you to make that shift. Let me dig a little deeper into your heart, Marcella. Share a moment with us that after it happened for you personally, after this moment happened, you knew your life would never be the same. Can you share one of your moments?
After this moment, oh, gosh, I'm going to share a more recent, because I feel like there are things, but I think this would relate to people a lot more, because it was September 2019.
Okay.
September, my birthday, September 28th, 2019. And it was as simple as making a decision. And the power of making a decision. On that day, I decided that I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And before then, on the outside, people look at me. It's like, oh, she looks great, seems great. But like many of us, we have various physical challenges. I was dealing with chronic migraines and fatigue and just other things that I dealt with for most of my life. And I decided that there was a change needed. And even more importantly, I really felt God and Spirit just leading me to say, enough's enough. It's now you make this change. So on that day, I decided to change my lifestyle. And with that lifestyle change was a change in first mindset, to change my diet. And that was like September. So going into the holidays, that was my first vegan holidays, go through my vegan holiday. And then it was also a physical change that I needed to do. And what I felt the Spirit tell me was flexibility, focus on flexibility. I challenged myself to be able to do a full split. I've never been able to do a full split. But the key was the challenge to do this thing. So I made up my mind, and what it was going to require was a level of discipline that I've never demonstrated before. I've had discipline in various ways and different forms of my life in order to build a business or to maintain a marriage and do these type of things, and a parenting. But for myself to actually follow through on a desire that I really wanted to help me grow, there was a challenge. And that was September 28th. And the journey to that split, the journey to that lifestyle change it just totally changed me as a person. I accomplished the full split last year in March of 2021. And so it didn't happen overnight. It took some time for me to get that split. I was consistent. My diet changed. My health changed. I'm in the best physical health that I've been in my life at 47 years old. And my mindset completely transformed. And it was the thing I really needed. I mean, again, it was about behavior. I'm teaching about behavior. I needed my behavior to change. I needed to really understand what it meant like to stretch your mind by stretching my body. My mindset was stretched. I understood I can endure pain the way I never thought that I could before, which we need to be able to handle all kind of uncomfortable situations in life, not just physically, mentally, spiritually. It transformed me, and it allowed me to tap into realms of me that I didn't even know was possible, and just elevate all that God needed me to be. And I just feel like I'm a new vessel since that. So that making that decision, it starts with a decision that says enough's enough, a decision. Everything that we do to get anywhere we need to be starts with a decision. And making that decision on that day, I can see everything that developed from that one decision.
Wow. And I can see that too. I can hear it and I can see it. What leaped out at me was the focus on flexibility. And while that was a decision to focus on your flexibility with your physical self, your body, I'm sure it expanded your capacity to be flexible in every other area, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, I'm sure it just had a domino effect. And that's powerful, Marcella. Thank you. I'm kind of embellishing it for a moment.
Yes.
Because I need that to breathe. And I need those who are listening. What I heard was that, you have the fortitude to endure the discomfort of growth. And that's what that is. Like, that is so powerful. Thank you for sharing such a life-changing moment at a time where people are surrendering to dysfunction, right? Like, I'm getting older. That's the excuse. I'm getting older. I can't do what I used to do. And here you are doing a split like you're 12, like a 10-year-old. And what it says, the lesson, Soul Wealth family, is that you can do whatever you put your mind to.
Yes.
You just have to make a decision.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
So good. This is rich. But of course it's rich because we're talking to Marcella M. Williams, the behavioral financial advisor and certified cognitive behavioral coach. So the fact that it started with you, is living with you, makes you uber qualified to share your expertise and the wealth of your wisdom and these gems. Gosh, this is so good. And we are out of time, but it's just enough. It's just enough, I know, to provoke people to seek more of you. Yes. So how can our listeners connect with you? Social media, website, both, whatever you want to share. Yes. How can they find you?
Yes, well, I am easy to find. My website is marcellamwilliams.com. And you can also find me on Instagram. I'm all over social media, but I like people to get to know me on Instagram, Marcella M. Williams. And you can find me those two spaces, but I'm everywhere.
And I'm just going to also add you're on Twitter and LinkedIn at MSM Williams. MSM Williams on Twitter and LinkedIn, in addition to her website and in addition to her Instagram, Marcella M. Williams. Thank you. This is so good. This is good for my soul. Like, this is what Soul Wealth Radio is all about.
Yes.
Wealthy conversations that nurture the soul. And family, you can also visit my website, VikkiJohnson.com. I am on most social media platforms at All Things Vikki. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, All Things Vikki Johnson. And Vikki is Vikki. Listen, soul wealth is your birthright. It is your inheritance. So go out into the world, live with passion, live with purpose, live with flexibility. How about that? That is just medicine to my soul right now. Be intentional, live full, so you can die empty. Until next time, Peace.
You've been listening to Soul Wealth, wealthy conversations that nurture the soul with Dr. Vikki Johnson. Soul Wealth is not just a brand. It's a lifestyle of vision, compassion, authenticity, abundance, and legacy created one conversation, one choice at a time. For more information, visit VikkiJohnson.com or click on Soul Wealth at dcradio.gov.